I'm here at Blockchain Live with a particular absolute legend from the Cardano Foundation, Frederik Gregaard, the CEO. Frederik, please can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the Cardano Foundation?
Well, I'm a hopeless optimist. I really think we can change this world, and I think we can do that with the foundation of blockchain technology. Now, what we need to do is we need to explain that to people, what it really means, because it's a back-end technology and it doesn't live in a vacuum. And my job is really to break that vacuum, get interoperability, get the use cases out there and connect it with adjacent technology such as AI, synthetic biology and other things.
How can the average person benefit from Cardano?
Yeah, what a lot of people actually don't know is that all blockchains are not created equal. And if we look at it, Bitcoin and Cardano actually believe in a concept called sound money. Sound money is this idea that inflation cannot happen. This idea that you cannot just print more money. That means there's a finite supply of money in circulation. The other part which Cardano believes really truly in is that everybody should participate and have the ability to participate, even though you don't have a passport, even though you don't have a national identity. And when you look at these architectures of blockchain, they get very, very deep and complicated. And it shouldn't be in a situation that you need to have a passport and you need to have a supercomputer to get economic opportunities on Cardano. So if we do an example in sub-Saharan Africa, we actually managed to build Cardano so scalable that with a computer for $100, which you can get financed over one of the amazing Cardano projects, right, for microfinancing, you can actually be a stake pool operator. Being a stake pool operator means you participate in the security on the blockchain, but you don't need to identify yourself. The blockchain pays you a reward, and that means that you're now suddenly with an internet connection and a financing from the Cardano community, you're now having a revenue stream. The Cardano Foundation then has issued something called the Cardano Academy, which is a set of descriptions about how Cardano actually works. And we give that away for free. But we're not only giving it away for free, we give the actual text away for free. So if you put that into ChatGPT or Gemini, you can translate that to your local country in sub-Saharan Africa. When you have that, including your experience from running the stake pool, you can do a meetup. When you do meetups, you can become an ambassador. Being an ambassador, you can get another revenue stream. When you're then getting experience and starting to, bridge the digital divide in your community without moving away to the big city, so you can stay with your family and your community. The next thing you can do is you start having a voice because you're getting feedback from a lot of people. Now, when you do that, you can be a D-Rep. A D-Rep is an online political person on the Cardano environment. That also has a revenue stream. And suddenly, what you did is you took your own ambition to stay where you are, to contribute to the community where you are, but you anchor into the global capital environment without actually having a national identity, and you started to be a part of that change, and you're even being funded. And on top of that, if you then say, I can build this application, you can then apply to Catalyst, where suddenly you're now in contact with thousands of Cardano enthusiasts, including yourself, about what kind of projects and how do we do it, what's the target operating model, and you can get a grant. And in this way, when you kind of think about it, we are creating economic opportunities for everybody around the world, the average Joe, as long as they have the power and the willingness to believe in change. And you don't have to move to the big city. You don't have to move away from the people who depend on you. We can bring the world to your community.
Thank you, Frederik. I think it's safe to say that there are a lot of benefits for people in Cardano, and it's inclusive of everyone. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And I have to ask, what real-world problems does Cardano solve?
So the list is very, very long, right? But I think specifically being here in Dubai, let's speak about something a lot of people don't know. So every time we walk out of the door, we take a trade-off. Do we rather want to be secure, so nobody's robbing us, nobody's stabbing us, that we live in a society where global crime is being managed, or do we want to keep our privacy? And that's a very hard trade-off, specifically when you start thinking about what privacy really is. UAE is a very small country who's on the forefront of the digital transformation. And what we decided to do with the Dubai police is to help them being the leader in digital transformation in law enforcement without selling the private information of the local citizens here. How this works is that we take all guns who's being bought in Dubai and UAE, they're being registered. Not just the serial number, but the actual cartridge. So they shoot in a water tank, and there is a 3D rendering coming out of how exactly the fingerprint of the bullet and the gun is. Now, if you would upload that to Interpol or to Europol or something like that, you're actually contributing to solving global crime. But no crime has happened. You just bought a gun and that's your right. So what we did is we actually decided to design a one-way hash algorithm who takes the whole file, puts it into a binary string where it's non-reversible. That means that if a crime is happening now in Norway, they can actually look at a comparison picture without ever having access to the original picture, without ever having access to who actually posted that picture. And if they see the comparison is fairly high, they can leave a message on the blockchain saying, please contact us, we are the Norway police. And now UAE can decide whether the match is good enough. If they decide it's good enough, they can take contact to the Norway police, and now they can speak together with the culture and the partnership agreements they have. In this way, all of the private personal data from this very transformative country is not being uploaded into a cloud construct, which is controlled by hundreds of different other countries, where some have a bigger say than others. Yeah. So we can solve global crime by still protecting privacy, and by taking this upfront and Cardano Foundation doing the research and the implementation of that, we can also help neighboring countries who is not so far in terms of how we solve crime locally and globally, and roll that out to neighboring countries in the name of Dubai Police. And that means that UAE and Dubai suddenly becomes the front runner in the digital transformation for global law enforcement while still keeping privacy. And that means that that trade-off I spoke about earlier doesn't need to happen.
What does the future look like for Cardano?
The future for Cardano looks extremely bright because we are part of the solution. Now, the future for the world looks a little bit grave. But the good thing is that we have the technologies and the means to do something about it. But it's not technology only. It does require a collaborative economy. And a collaborative economy is everybody here. It's not just where we stand today in Dubai, who's been pushing forward. It's not just at Blockchain Live, but we need to create an incentive system where people come together and they work collaborative to get an abundance of resources. We need to change the lives of everybody, not just a few.
No, 100%. I completely agree and appreciate that. Frederik, you were recently at NASA. I heard you went up to space. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah. So I had the honor of going to the NASA Space Goddard Center, which basically hosts 10,000 space engineers, because for a long time we've actually been working with them about what does Cardano and a public permissionless blockchain do in terms of space exploration. But more importantly, when you think about what NASA really does, right, is that they are doing the impossible, right? They are taking a construct, whether that's a rocket or whether that's a space telescope, they're building that, using taxpayers' money and sending it up into hard vacuum. And the way they do that is using multiple vendors, right? And when you have a bespoke alloy compound who has to go up into space, who's built by vendor number 300 and something, right? When they send that into NASA, and the guys, the space engineers are testing that, and they get a different test result than what the vendor got on it, a whole range of questions is starting to be asked. Yeah. The first question you ask yourself is, how do I know that the test results I'm looking at, so the large data set from the testing machines at the vendor's place, is accurate? Second question, is it manipulated? Is it regressed? And this is one of the beautiful blockchain cases who really works, right? The third question you might ask yourself is, well, hold on a second. How do I know that the data set I'm looking at is actually connected to that physical device? And when you look at what the Cardano Foundation has been doing lately is we've been starting to connect physical devices to the blockchain, whether that's clothing, whether that's trees, whether that's wine bottles. And what we're really talking about here is how do we bring critical operational excellence by using the blockchain to ensure space exploration and saving lives.
Wow, that's super exciting. Frederik, thank you so much for your time, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at the summit.
Thank you, and thank you for supporting us.